Welcome to Clean Green Living. This is where we find out little ways that you can make changes in your home that can make a huge difference in your life. Even something as simple as water. A glass of water seems simple enough, but you don't know what might be in that glass, do you? Let's think about that, and I'll show you a couple ways that you can make sure you know what's in there. Or, if I'm cleaning up my water, how about this sponge? Do you know what's in that sponge? I'm going to show you this sponge and many more that are going to show you that there's ways to avoid the bacteria and other items that can be in your sponges. So join me today. We're going to talk about technology, everything from water purifiers down to sponges. We're going to make a big difference in a little way. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to tell you the truth. I am not a big fan of sponges. I don't like the way they get all hard and crinkly. I don't like the way they smell after you've been using them for a while. But this is really funny. I'm here with BioBob. He actually manufactures sponges. So he's going to try and convince me that these are definitely a good thing to use, aren't you?
I'm going to try. I hope I can pull it off. That's
You
all
can. I just know that, every one of us are dealing with this.
Yes.
And we don't like it. They're hard, they're crinkly, you have to wet them to get them started again, and then they smell awful.
I hear you.
I have to put them in this little stand so that it gets air around it just to keep it from not smelling.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your sponges and why I need to convert.
Well, for one thing, let me start with this.
Okay.
Okay. The reason that this is hard, and everyone sees the name cellulose, right, on the package.
Yeah.
So, in Canada, they even put a little tree on the label because, we have such a big forest industry.
Right.
This is basically made of wood.
Oh.
And wood is fine. It's a natural fiber. There's plenty of it. Growing wood is great for carbon capture and all that kind of stuff. So wood is fine. But the last thing you want to make out of wood is something that stays wet all the time. Because otherwise, if wood were at all bacterial resistant, then a tree would fall in the forest and stay there and never rot, never go away. You'd have
great point, right?
10,000-year-old trees, right, sitting in a swamp. So our product is not made of wood, has never had any wood.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's why these little stands are necessary. Frankly, this part of it is not a bad idea. You should always let your sponges, even ours, dry between uses. Simply because if there's a food particle or something stuck that you didn't rinse out, well, letting it dry will prevent anything from growing there.
Okay,
right? Because you want it dry. But when not only is your food particle or other piece of dirt in there, but it's in basically a petri dish made of wood, well, now you're asking for trouble.
And that's where we get the smell and the bacteria.
That's why the market-leading cellulose sponges in North America are chocked full of antimicrobials. Because that has been an age-old problem with cellulose, so in order to combat that problem, they chock it full of antimicrobials. And even the overuse of colloidal silver, as people are realizing, is not a good idea because then those antimicrobials end up in the streams and so forth, so it kills the bacteria that we need to make this planet work. Mm-hmm. So antimicrobials of kind you have to be very careful with. So that's why this sponge has so many environmental issues, even though it's made from a natural product.
Okay.
Now, the biggest question I get about our product is what is it made of? Because I call it enviroester, but to be honest, it's a polyester. It is an oil-based product. And unfortunately, in today's economy, basically everything we have, everything that we do is linked to oil. It's been, a century or more now. Every plastic bag, clothing, everything, all of that is linked to oil. The difference with our product is we like to make something that is made from an oil byproduct, but the process that makes this, it's like amazing. It's like my high school teacher, we had grade 13 when I was going to school, and he put sugar in a bowl or a beaker, and he added sulfuric acid. And I never forgot that because it rose up just like our sponges do when we're making them. And I've been around this. My mom started the company. I've been around the production of these since I've been, 5 years old. And so I never forgot that. out of all my schooling, that was the one class I really never forgot, because it looks so much like our sponges do when they bubble up and are formed from all the different raw materials. We don't use sugar and sulfuric acid. That's a 2-part version of what we do.
Okay.
And when you do that, you're left with a black thing. You can see it on YouTube, which is basically pure carbon. And pure carbon isn't sugar, isn't sulfuric acid. Our product is the same way. I've actually eaten a piece just to be sure it wasn't toxic, but I never released the video because I wanted to film it on the other side and I never could find it, so I just kept that video. I know, I can be gross when it comes to our sponges. We can cut this out after, I'm sure. Anyway, so this product here, all the ingredients we put in get changed so dramatically that you start with liquids and you end up with this.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. And this feels, open it up. And I chose that one, even though I consider this a pretty ugly color. It's basically a drab, olive, khaki, puke green, if you want to call it that. We still put it out there because we made it and we don't throw anything out. My father's Dutch. I don't chuck anything, okay? But we do use up old dyes from companies that are end of lines and stuff. They're organic dyes. They're not vegetable dyes, but they are organic. We can't use like iron oxides and stuff like that because the souffle will fall. Like our formulation won't work if we use an inorganic dye. So we use organic dyes, and the rabbis have been out. They're even kosher, all of our dyes, and all of our ingredients. Our product is kosher. And so that's why I chose to give you that sponge, because to show not all the colors. A lot of people buy our product for the colors, but sometimes, we just go with what we have, and some people will like that color. It is a kind of like a natural tone. So I wanted to also focus on not all of our products, but at least separating the 2 types of sponge that we make.
Okay.
So the one type you're holding in your hand is a wall and floor sponge. Maria, my sales rep in Toronto, that's her favorite size, but everybody gets their own favorite size.
Okay. I like it when you open it up though. It's soft. It's
yeah.
not real hard. You don't have to add water to it and start using it. So it's actually, is it absorbent from the very beginning?
Well, it is and it isn't. I have to be honest. Our product, the more it's used, the better it becomes. Okay. So when it's brand new, you'll be able to wipe a tabletop or something with it. It'll work. But wait. You wring it out, you use it, you give it the punishment. You see, with this, if you punish this, you now have 2 sponges or 3, especially if you don't have this green thing to hold it together, right? With ours, it's the opposite. The more you use it, the better it becomes.
So it's really strong as well as absorbent.
Very, very strong.
And it's going to last a long, long time.
Well, we guarantee each one for a year.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, we do. And we've had people use them longer than that. I just got an email from someone yesterday, actually, but I was in a rush to come down here and see you, Leslie. And she finally ran out of her sponges, the last of which she bought in 2012, asking me where she could find them. So
tell me though, if it's going to last a year, why wouldn't it start to smell like the other ones?
Because there's no wood in it.
Nothing in there.
There is nothing there to feed the bacteria. You could get it to smell if, let's say, you put in some bacon or some cheese or something and you didn't rinse it out properly.
Okay.
Of course, it would smell of whatever it is. But if you rinse it, and they do rinse very, very well,
okay,
and you let it dry between uses. You don't have to have a patente like this. You can just put it like this on the side. And I recommend people to just take an old yogurt container or something and just lay it on top. As long as it gets some air, and most people have a little dish rack or something that they put their stuff in.
Okay.
So that's the one thing, and then that's why it doesn't smell. And I do have other recommended uses, like for that style of sponge, be it for body care or wall and floor or whatever. Is I tell people, if you want to keep your sponge nicer looking, dilute your soap, because our sponge makes soap more efficient.
I noticed that. I've been trying one of your sponges.
Oh, there you go. So it makes soap more efficient. So I tell people, dilute your soap, use less than you normally would, and put your soap directly on the sponge instead of the counter. So if you're using a spray your sponge, and then do the counter with it.
Okay.
Because the spray will then spread on the sponge and will prevent it from staining.
Okay.
So that's a little tip that I've come up with over the years of using them.
So now, you said you have 2 different kinds of sponges.
Yeah, we have 2 different kinds. We have all of these colored ones, these nicely colored ones, are basically one type of sponge. It's skin soft, yet it has a micropore cleaning technology. So it's very soft on the skin, but it will still clean very nicely. We have another kind, and I'm going to pull this little non-stick Ned here out of the package. This one is sold in 3 sizes, the non-stick Ned, the Tub Tuffy, and believe it or not, although most stores don't carry this because it's specialized, it's for wet sanding drywall joints. The whole thing is strong enough to wet sand drywall joints. And you don't need an abrasive layer. That's how
I know
strong
how to
it
do
is.
that.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then
It's gonna
next
come in
time,
handy.
circular motions. Yeah, I'm going to give you that one. So you feel how much denser this is.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, and that, for some reason, that density, and I discovered this by accident years ago. Heck, years ago, we only made that gray sponge. It was me who convinced my mom to make the Tub Tuffy, and then the eventually the non-stick Ned, because I told Anyu, which means mom in Hungarian.
Yeah.
He says, Anyu, people, why do we only clean our bathtubs with industrial sponge, and we don't sell one to people to do it with? So that's how the Tub Tuffy got invented. And then the non-stick Ned was an extension from that. And then I realized that baking soda and this together, unbelievable.
So this sponge is really made for non-stick cookware?
It's basically a safe scrubber. You can use it on non-stick cookware. You can use it on fiberglass tubs. You can use it on those new glass stovetop things that they have.
Yes, I have
and
one.
I have it. You do?
I
Okay.
do. We battle
Well,
with it.
yours probably doesn't get as grungy as ours does, being that you're Leslie, right? But ours, you know, like, I mean, my wife brought it in and stuff, and sometimes stuff boils over.
Yep.
I have a beautiful trick for that. What I do is I take a tea towel. See, the night I'm looking at it, it's getting kind of grungy. There's a few marks. I take a tea towel. I lay it on top. Then I grab some water and I pour it on the tea towel until it's saturated.
Yeah.
And then go to bed. The next morning, I go to the fridge. I get out my baking soda. Of course, we have a smaller box than that in our
Yes.
fridge, right? And I just dump it on. Take this, and yes, it takes elbow grease, but you don't have to worry about scratching. And it does a great job. And the only thing is, you're going to be left with baking soda on top, so you're going to have to wipe it off. If you don't have a number 7 countertop sponge, you'll have to use what you have.
We've used that trick before. Actually, if you've been watching, you've seen that in a prior episode. So
Oh,
it
really?
works really
obviously,
well.
I haven't been watching, so I'm sorry about that. You know, I'm in Canada, I'm running around all
We'll
the time.
have to get it in Canada. That'll make a
okay.
difference.
All
But
right.
that's great. It's very dense. It definitely looks like it would work perfectly.
Oh yeah, that and baking soda, unbelievable. And it also works with any of those cream style cleansers.
Yep.
And so any cleanser that is meant to scrub without damaging, okay, with it, like
That's
this
the
is
sponge.
one.
That's awesome.
That or the Tub Tuffy.
Okay.
And by the way, just to note, the Tub Tuffy, you'll wonder why every other size is Ziploc bagged except the Tub Tuffy. Reason, again, back to the Dutch father and mom who survived World War II, nothing gets thrown out. We had these printed. I ain't going to change the packaging until
Not
we
until
use
they
these
run
up.
out.
Yeah,
That's all
until we
right.
had obviously a very
But that's
nice
a
amount
great
printed.
sponge to be using in a shower if you have something that
Well,
needs
if you
to
got
be.
to clean your shower,
Yeah.
this is the one thing this isn't, and that's why Maria likes this for the showers, because hers stays pretty well clean. So this is a great scrubber, but it's not a great wiper.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if
you
you're
have
going
two
to
sponge.
scrub with it, you're going to have to either rinse it off, and it will rinse nicely. You don't have to worry about that, right?
Yep.
But if you want to wipe at the same time to get it, you know, like more gleamy,
Yes.
and so forth, or if you have hard water like we do and it leaves stains, then you want a different sponge for the finishing touch.
Nice.
This is the basic scrub, you know, safe scrub, and then this is the finishing touch.
Finishing touch. So it's a 2-sponge process.
It depends. If you never let your shower get that dirty, which I'm sure is your case, then this is enough.
Okay.
But you can save this for burnt stuff, or someone left something dry on a fiberglass surface, or anything like that.
This is awesome. Now, how do you know, like, can I really test the strength of this?
Well, I would like to show you something.
Okay.
Using this sponge here, and it's out of the package for a reason. It's our 10XL. We used to make all our car washing sponges this size.
Right.
And then it weighs so much when it's full of water, we made a thinner one. And more ergonomic design. This one here, which is a traditional car washing sponge, I'm going to ask you to be patient. I'm going to get a bowl and show you how it works. Would that be okay?
Sounds good. So BioBob says he has something he wants to show us. So what exactly are you going to show us with this sponge?
All right. Well, Leslie, the thing is that there's 2 things that people look for in sponges. One is durability, which obviously we cream the competition with that.
Okay.
But the other thing is a sponge is supposed to absorb and actually hold water. And let's face it, except for cellulose. Actually, cellulose does that well because the wood fibers hold the water.
Okay.
Right? But all the other synthetics out there, we have the highest water retention of any of them. It's part of our production process.
All right, you're going to show us how this works.
What that does, though, is no matter how much water is in the sponge, I mean, it always floats.
Okay.
So that's part of the process creates that, which is great when you're talking for a child's bath sponge because you're never having to look for it in the bathtub. Okay. But also, if you have a high water use for your sponge, like washing your car or whatever, I'm going to actually invite you to grab a corner of this. Okay, just a small corner. Don't worry, it won't tear like any other sponge. Now lift her up.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm doing.
Lift her up and shake her a bit. Shake her. Okay, now you've shaken her. You've lifted her.
That's really heavy.
I did this the first time in a hardware store, and I was at the sink in the bathroom. I walked over to his scale, and I measured the weight of the sponge, which basically weighs almost nothing.
Yeah.
And it held a kilo, which is 2.2 pounds, whatever, which is a liter, which is more than a quart.
Wow.
So I can basically guarantee that this sponge, which I've just wrung out here.
And you're pulling it like
oh
it's...
yeah. See, I'm pulling it. And now you can see that without the water, it's coming back slowly because it's a new sponge, right?
Okay.
But feel how light that is now.
Oh my, that's lovely. It feels like it's wonderful. You know, like I want to use it.
Well, it's basically skin soft. I keep repeating that. No matter how good our product is for cleaning, it's also skin soft. And look at how much water is in here. I guess I can pour it back in there just for the effect. That's what was in the sponge. That's what was in the sponge.
That's phenomenal.
Well, I just thought I'd show you one more thing, and it is new, but it'll still wipe up any spills in that. Not
You
as
clean
well
up
as it
after
would.
yourself. I love this.
Hey, my mom trained me. I mean, it was whoever cooked didn't have to do the dishes, so guess who's been doing dishes for 50 years? Well, you know, Leslie, I really like to thank you for bringing down here. There is one more little surprise I want to show you.
Oh.
But we've got to clear off these little things, and then I'll do that last surprise moment. Okay?
So we've had a great time with BioBob today. We've seen all different kinds of sponges, why they're better than what you can get at the regular grocery store. And you said you had a surprise for us?
Well, actually, it's a surprise that surprised me as much as it surprised the people I work with.
Okay.
Even my customers. And this is the number 5. Okay, so here was the situation. We had these 6x4 bags, and we wanted a size to fit in there. So we created a size. Now check this out. This is our shipper. Okay, it holds 12 plus 3, 15 sponges, which is an odd number for shipping. You know, it's usually 12s or 24s.
Right.
And if you look closely, you'll see that there's like a whole bunch of different sizes. So basically, the number 5 is a size that has a whole bunch of different sizes, but it has the same barcode, same price, same everything. But people then choose the one that they like.
They don't match.
No, they don't match. They're not. It's imagine having a standard size that's not standard. That's part of the BioBob story because people love these. And as a matter of fact, some of them we use. Let's say this is the thickness of a number 7 counter buddy. But let's say that number 7, which is slightly bigger, had a little mistake there. Well, instead of chucking the whole sponge, we just cut off the bad parts and sell it as a number 5.
So these are actually leftovers.
Well, yeah, they're leftovers, but they're really good leftovers. Oh yeah, and
I love
they're
leftovers.
Still warranted for 1 year, and they're called the cute one because let's say this size would make a nice bath sponge, but this thin one would be ideal for dishes because it has a little more surface area, gets into your cups, glasses, wine glasses, that kind of thing. So yeah, so they all vary, and some people will use the thicker one for dishes. Whatever they want it for, they can use the cute one for.
This is cute. They're adorable.
Why, thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really had fun.
Well, thanks for letting me come down, despite the fact that luckily I got across the border yesterday.
No, it's wonderful. And if you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about sponges and what you can do with them, you can go to biobob.co. C-O.
.co or .ca. It both go to the same place.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Leslie. You have yourself a great week.
Thanks. Environmental Working Group is talking about how important it is for us to really realize what's in our water system. A lot of filters that you can buy that are over the counter, something you can put in your refrigerator, those do two things. They take out chlorine and they make your water smell better. But that's not important. Yes, the chlorine is annoying and it's something that smells and you don't like the taste of it maybe, but you need to get a filter that will take out everything. There's some really toxic chemicals that are in our water system. EWG has just reported that there's chromium-6 in a lot of the water systems around the United States. I don't know if you remember, but chromium-6 may not mean anything, but that's the Aaron Brockovich chemical, the thing that made the movie. So we want to get that and all the other contaminants out of our water. So I'm going to introduce you to a reverse osmosis water purifier. So this is taking out the smells and the chlorine, but a lot of the other chemicals as well. So let me show you how this works. Inside of here, there are 4 different filters. And this one is 2-in-1. That's taking out the pre-carbon filter. And then this is going to be the osmosis filter, and then the carbon filter. So your water is going from this reservoir through each one of these different filters and coming out here pure. It's amazing. Now you can't really tell the difference, so you're going to have to trust and verify. But AquaPure is doing an independent research to find out all the different chemicals that their purifier takes out of the water. Basically what you want to do is make sure that everything that you're putting in your mouth and in your body is pure and doesn't have these toxic chemicals. So don't just trust the water system that's coming out of your local system, or if you have well water, you want to watch out for all the different metals and things that can be in there. Get yourself a purifier. It's good for you, it's good for your body, it's good for your family. I have to admit it, I'm getting a little lazier as I get older. I don't know, even little things like running a vacuum cleaner is starting to annoy me. Not annoy me, but I really like a little help. So look what I found to help me. It's a robot. It's not any robot either. I know they've been out for a few years. This little guy is like a little helper. He's so adorable. You can program him. They even have a remote, so you don't even have to get up to turn him on. Now you do have to treat him like a 4-year-old. He kind of gets into trouble when he's going around helping you in the house. It's funny. My son came home the other day and he's like, "Mom, Bob's stuck under the couch again." And sometimes Bob does get behind recliners, and there are a few places in my cabinetry where he gets underneath and he can't get out. So like I said, you kind of have to treat him like a 4-year-old. But he's adorable. And all of a sudden, even my husband's saying, "Hey, Bob's downstairs vacuuming the kitchen again." It's fun, it really is. And it's something where it's made to pick up pet hair. And I have 2 golden retrievers, and I will tell you that he's pulling out a lot of fur every day. So I have him programmed to get started in the morning before we get up, and by the time I get up, my whole vacuuming is done. It's totally awesome. Let me show you how it works. So here's the remote, and it's got a little button that says go, and here we go. So Bob does a really nice job of picking up. Even though he does get stuck sometimes, or he ends up getting stuck on something that he can't get off of, like a big cord or even a threshold. We have a couple thresholds where he kind of gets stuck. You can use these little eyes. They have these little electronic eyes that you just put on, and then he won't cross over that line. So I would need about 4 in my house. But let me show you what he picked up. Look at that. It's phenomenal. You know, he's helping me. I can't complain. He's doing a nice job. Yeah, if he gets stuck every once in a while, it's okay, but he's doing a great job of picking up. So it's just like trying to train your kids how to clean one step at a time. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how he goes right back to his charger and charges himself up after a couple hours of cleaning. So if Bob's not behaving or he's running out of juice, normally he will come over here and find his charger. But if you pick him up, he just turns himself off. Then you can bring him right over to the charger, lean him up against it, and it starts charging him. It's unbelievable. He's so cute. Like I said, you gotta have a little patience with him because he's just like a 4-year-old. One great way to keep control of your heating bills is to use a programmable thermostat. Almost everybody has one, or you should. Anyway, there's a new version of the programmable that you want to take a look at, and they're called Wi-Fi programmable. What it does, it actually uses the internet so that you can keep in touch with your thermostat. It's really like a smartphone, only for your home. So what you have is just this wonderful thermostat. It's easy to hook up. It's going to go right there. Super easy to program because even I can do it. And the fun part is you download their app and then you can control the thermostat from your phone. So if you're at, a meeting and all of a sudden you're noticing that the heat's going up in your house, your kids are clicking it up without permission. Or if it drops really low, you'll get an alert that says there's something wrong at home. You can't beat this. So this is called a Sensi. It's one of many that are out there, but you really want to take a look at this because you can have total control of your heating or air conditioning bills right from your phone. So my family, friends, and I are all dealing with the same problem this time of year. It happens every spring, fall, midwinter, any time of year really. You get those little fruit flies that are flying around. Now this isn't high technology. Everything else we've talked about today is really intense technology. This is an old-fashioned trick that probably our great-grandmothers used to use, and I wanted to share it with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to trick those little flies into thinking that they're going to get a treat, and instead they're going to get captured and drowned. So you want to use a glass of wine. Don't pick your favorite because it's just going to go to waste. You're going to put enough wine in the bottom of the glass to attract them. And it's the sugar and the wine, and they just love it, and they're going to try and get in there. But instead of just leaving it open, because what happens is they'll actually collect around the ring and come out, you're going to cover it with some saran wrap, nice and tight, and then you're going to poke some holes in it. Just enough so they can get down inside. But once they get in there, they're trapped and they can't get out. Just leave this on your counter, somewhere inconspicuous. You'll be amazed. All of a sudden, they'll be collecting around it. They'll go inside, they'll fall down, and they never come back. Trust me, you're going to love this tip. So thanks for joining me today. We talked a lot about technology and all the different things you can use in your home to keep it cleaner and greener. Everything from water and how to pull out all the different things that are even in your tap water, all the way down to little things that our great-grandmothers must have used back in the day. So thanks for joining me today. You can see more of my episodes at cleangreenlivingmagazineandtv.com. And I'm so glad you're joining me today on my journey to a cleaner, greener lifestyle.